All right, here we go. Getting ready for the draft. But first, we do have the awards ceremony. So for the second year in a row, or maybe even for the third or fourth, or maybe even fifth year in a row, I don't know, the Ted Lindsay Award and the Art Ross go to Bobo Finneran, who once again led the league in points, 122 points. And then the Maurice Richard goes to Ross Beck of Vegas. Looks like he had 52 goals this year. David Carlson wins the Lady Byng. Yegor Magdeyev wins the Bill Masterton. Steve Stanley wins the Mark Messier Leadership Award. And the Jennings Trophy goes to Ville Lainanen. And then the heart between O'Finneran, Bear, and Yatsenko goes to O'Finneran, of course. The Conn Smythe goes to Verneri Bergstrom, and the Calder goes to Travis Cummings of Dallas. For the Norris between Verinen, Robichaud, and Plikta, it goes to Samuel Plikta of Seattle. And the Selkie between Vapenka, Suchi, and Fontaine goes to Jan Vopenka. For the Vesna between Svan, Johns, and Steinman goes to Patrick Steinman of the Devils. And Executive of the Year between Bobrov, Nolan, and Oistrik goes to Christopher Nolan of Seattle. And for the Jack Adams between Grieve, Johnstone, and Cannon goes to Vern Cannon of Seattle. Oh yeah, and the Vegas Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup in 5 games over Toronto. So there you go. They win the Stanley Cup for the second time in their history. And when was the first time? That was back in 2020, 2021. So I believe that was the first year of the simulation, wasn't it? And they also got 60 wins on the regular season. Yeah, I can see why they're a good team. They are definitely a good team. They got the 5-star winger there in Beck, a couple 4.5-star. Yeah, they're a good team. They're a very good team. And that is a rough season score, 11, bringing the total career score to 459. 2 available points. I'll put them into, I guess, in-game tactics. Well, there it is. We have a couple of retirements on the team. So Thomas Boudreau has decided to hang up the skates. Listen, he wasn't too good last season, but I'm glad that he got to retire with a team under our management. So congrats to him on a very solid career. 1,424 games played in the NHL, 798 points on his career. Unfortunately, not the star that he was in the QMJHL, but by all means, a very good career. And then the man himself, Colby Saganiuk, at 40 years of age, and now has the Ottawa Senators' all-time record for assists and points, has decided to retire. Honestly, I was kind of hoping that would happen, because I didn't want to have to play the 40-year-old Saganiuk over someone much younger. So that does clear up another roster spot. And you know what? He goes out on top with the all-time point record, at least as of right now. And he also has the most assists in franchise history with 732. That is 50 more than Daniel Alfredson's 682. And what's more, his uniform has been automatically retired. That doesn't happen often. I mean, usually I'll be the one who initiates a jersey retirement. But no, the management, or I should say the ownership of the Ottawa Senators has decided to formally arrange a pregame ceremony for a number retirement for him. So now no one for the rest of Ottawa Senators history will wear the number 25. 1,120 points in 1,442 games played in the NHL, all with your Ottawa Senators. And of course, 2 Stanley Cups. He had 6 All-Star appearances. He, of course, now has his number retired. 8 gold medals with Team Canada. 3 silver medals, 1 bronze. And then back in the 2028-29 season, he won the Lady Byng Trophy. And then back in the 2022-23 season, he won the William Hanley Trophy in the OHL. So there you go. There is the last look at Colby Saganiuk. And now we go on to the younger and hopefully better days of the Ottawa Senators. Okay, so I believe we've run into a bit of a glitch here with the free agent system, because Alan Manning, I believe he was signed when, I guess he was either just about to turn 22 or was already 22, but we got him out of free agency as a UFA. Same thing goes for Mr. Marple, Matt Marple, who was only 20 when we signed him. And of course, he had 122 points in 67 games played with the Winnipeg Ice. Now, I thought this would have been just, a one-off situation, but apparently this is happening very, very frequently as we take a look at players who are 23 or younger in free agency. And keep in mind, these are UFAs that we're looking at. No restricted FAs in this list. This is quite a lot of young players that have gone on such, especially this guy, David Steert, 157 points in 66 games, and you leave him unsigned? Are you kidding me? I find that very hard to believe. So I am pretty sure we have run into a bit of a glitch here with the computers not, for whatever reason, not signing players like this. He has 130 penalty minutes, sure, but 157 points, you're going to ignore that? I highly doubt it. So as a result, I'm going to ignore these guys. I'm not going to sign any more of them because it seems like one of those things that the computer, for whatever reason, is ignoring these prospects. Like 150 points? Are you kidding me? Austin Klinkhammer with 150 points? Something's going on there. Something's going on that shouldn't be going on. 122 points from Michael Rice. 125. Like, yeah, there's no reason these players shouldn't be getting signed. And for whatever reason, they're not. So, like I said, I'm going to ignore them out of free agency because that would just make things way too easy. I mean, as it is, I'm pretty sure we already have two of them on our team with Manning and Marple, but that was before I knew that this would be a recurring thing. So I'm just going to make this a rule. If I see any players like that, like if someone is, let's say 22 or younger and is a UFA and has really good potential and just overall seems like they shouldn't be in free agency, then I'm not going to sign them because it's pretty clear that that's a glitch, I think. So besides that, I don't think I really want to do much in free agency, at least not until we know what the roster situation is coming out of the draft, because I do have quite a few players on the trade block. Hankin, Wieland, Jansa, Rogers, they're all going at the draft because Rogers, being a center, is going to get in the way of Ashley Sanderson, who is now on the roster. I don't want any players get in the way of the development of Ashley Sanderson because he looks pretty good. And he's already a 3-star ability, so I don't want to potentially ruin him by having, Ardern, Rogers, and Marple all ahead of him on the depth chart, so that's why Rogers needs to go. Wieland, I'm getting rid of because not only is he 31, he's also making 6.4 for 4 years. He'll be 35 by the time that contract expires, and I want to get as much value back for him as possible. And unfortunately, it seems that he did not have a very good season last year, at least according to his standards. He's usually, getting 40 goals or something. On the chance that he has another season like that, I don't want his value to drop anymore. So we're just going to see what we could get from in the draft here. Jansa, he's making 7.9 for 1 year. He's probably going to want even more for his next contract extension, and that's just not something I'm willing to give him. So we're going to trade him at the draft as well. And then as for Hankin, he's 30 years of age, making 5.5 for 2 years. He's very injury prone as well, so I figured he would also make some pretty good trade baits. Because he is a 3.5-star player, I could probably get maybe a first for him, especially if I package him with one of Wieland or Jansa or Rogers. Now, as for guys like Sidok and Ardern, I do want to keep them on board for next season. That being said, if the right offer comes along, then they're not untouchable. Basically, the only untouchables here, I think, are Manning, no one on defense, Marple, and then, of course, Sanderson, McSkimming, any young guy, anyone who's under 22 is untouchable. But besides that, everyone else for the right price can go. But it's the players on the trade block that I really want to, move as soon as possible. So I'm hoping that we can get at least a couple of first-round picks back for them during the draft. All right, here we go. Draft lottery time. We have the 13th best odds, but hopefully we move into the top 3. I mean, I know there's not a great chance of that, but you never know. So number 16 is the New York Islanders. At 15, you have the Winnipeg Jets. 14, the Edmonton Oilers. And 13 will be your Ottawa Senators or the Pittsburgh Penguins. It will be your Ottawa Senators. 12, you have Pittsburgh. 11, you have Chicago. 10, you have Detroit. 9, you have Vancouver, so Anaheim moves up. At number 8, you have Dallas. 7, you have Montreal. 6, you have Florida. 5, you have St. Louis. 4, you have Carolina. And at 3, you have Washington. And number 1 is Anaheim. Okay, so we're here at the draft, and we have 5 trades to make and a free agent signing, so let's not waste any time. The first team we're trading with is the Detroit Red Wings. They're in need of defense, and we also have a defenseman on the trade block, which is Roger Hankin, so we're going to add him to the trade. We're also going to send them a 3rd-round pick from LA, so it's not our own 3rd-round pick. And we'll be getting Detroit's 1st-round pick in return. Where are they picking? They're picking 10th. So we're getting the 10th overall pick here. There you go. Hankin and a 3rd for a 1st-round pick from Detroit. Really? Okay. Let's try to retain salary then. See what that does. All right. Well, this is not panning out like I expected it to. Okay. So I was able to get 2 seconds and a 3rd out of them. I would have preferred the 1st, but, that's 3 fairly valuable assets there, so I'll take it. And you know what? We also get to hold on to our 3rd-round pick that was going to be sent to that trade. Wasn't my original offer, but I will take it. Next, we'll be trading with the LA Kings. Their first round pick is number 18. So on goes the pick. And who will be going to LA is Pavel Jansa. So just a straight up offer, Jansa for a first round pick from LA. Hopefully that'll work. Nope. Okay, so they have to get some salary back in return. Really? Okay. I mean, we're already trading a pretty hefty salary there. So this is interesting. If I add if I add another player to the trade offer, like for example Aaltonen, who's making 4.3, they say they can't add that much salary to the payroll. Are they below the salary cap and above their budget, or like what's going on here? Because yeah, so they'd be below the cap floor if they made this trade. So we'll have to get some salary back in return. But if I add once again Aaltonen, they can't add that much salary to the payroll. All right, I thought I was getting a first here, but once again, apparently not. In that case, I might have to find another team for Jansa because the situation here with LA is very interesting as far as the cap and their budget goes. Like they're below the cap floor and they can't add that much salary to their payroll. Like I don't fully understand what's going on here, so I think I'll just find another team for Jansa. All right, so I think I found a trade for Wieland here to the Winnipeg Jets. Wieland and his 7th for this year for Kane Karagianis and a first-round pick for next year from Winnipeg. Will that work? Yep, it will. Very nice. All right, so I believe I have found a trade for Jansa. Not only that, but Randolph Rogers, and it's a big one, to the Philadelphia Flyers, and we will be receiving 2 first-round picks and a third. 1 first-round pick for this year, another for next year, and then a third-round pick for next year as well. And, of course, Jansa and Rogers both had to retain half their salaries, but hopefully this works. Nope, they would be below the cap floor. So the same situation here as with LA. Because if I take the retained salary off of Jansa, then they say they can't add this much salary to the payroll. I wonder what would happen if I just offer it anyway. Yeah, they would still be below the cap floor. So that's very interesting. So even if we offered them both, Jansa and Rogers, without the retained salary, they still say they'll be below the cap floor. I mean, that doesn't really make much sense considering their current cap hit is at $89 million. So like I said, I'm not sure what's going on here. This is definitely a strange situation. All right, well, I was going to save this next trade for last, but given that 2 of my trades have fallen through, at least in regards to the trades even being possible, we're going to be trading with the Edmonton Oilers. And I didn't want to trade this player unless I felt the price was right. And I feel like this is a good return for him. Maverick Ardern is going to the Edmonton Oilers along with Kylie Barron and Edmonton's own 4th-round pick in exchange for 2 firsts. I hope this works. Please don't tell me that there's going to be a budget or a cap issue here. Okay, so at least there's no budget issue here. All right, Ardern, Barron, Murphy, and a 4th for 2 firsts. Will that work? Okay, so the same issue here. They'd be below the cap floor, but I added a player. How does that work? I mean, it's interesting because if I remove, let's say, Barron, they say it's an interesting offer. Not that they would have salary issues. What is going on, man? I'll remove the first from this year. I'll put on a 2nd. What do you think of that? Okay, that works. I don't know why they were saying that they would be below the cap floor if I had added salary onto the deal. That doesn't make sense, but it works. So let's finalize the deal. So there you go. Ardern, now a member of the Edmonton Oilers, along with Barron and a 4th-round pick. We get a first for next year and a 2nd for this year. Now, what to do about Jansa and Rogers? Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this being below the cap floor thing, but they are clearly not below the cap floor based off their current cap hit. Hold on, let's check out their salary. 81.5. Yeah, they're not below the cap floor. The cap floor is 60 mil. What is going on here? I suppose let's just look for the next team. Maybe Montreal. They need centers, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like they could use a center like Randolph Rogers for sure. Their best center is Person. So they're not bad at center, but they could definitely use an upgrade if they're looking to contend. So it appears this is a good first then. Montreal, where are they picking? Oh, 7th. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, how about the Islanders? They need centers. Their win now team. All right, give me Roussel. I'll take Roussel off your hands. Very likely they will accept us. What if I don't retain salary? No, they can't add that much salary. Okay, so I'll retain half of Rogers' salary. We'll get Roussel off their hands. And then where are the Islanders picking this year? 16? I wonder if I could get 2 firsts out of this, since it says it's very likely they'll accept this. We might be able to, depending. Increase it a little. Okay. Increasing it a bit more, so I'll throw... I don't want to throw too many picks around. I want to make as many picks as possible. McSkimming? Below the cap floor? Like, how does that work? How would they be below the cap floor if I'm adding salary to their... That really does not make sense. Like, am I missing something here with that? Is there a reason that's showing that I'm like just completely missing? Because that doesn't make sense to me. All right, then I guess I'll take off one of the first round picks here. What have we got so far? We have a first round pick. Was that for next year with Winnipeg? Then we got a first from Edmonton. Oh, I could just look in here, right? We only have our own first currently for this year, so I think I'll remove next year's first from that trade. All right, so Rogers at half his salary for Roussel, a first for this year. If I could try to get a second for next year, it's still very likely, so they're probably going to accept that. That might be the limit. Yeah, so Roussel, a first for this year, and a second for next year for Rogers at half his salary. Really? Okay. I'll try a third then. All right, there we go. So Rogers at half his salary for Roussel, a first for this year, and a third for next year. Finalize that deal. Okay, I still need to find a trade for Jansa somehow. That might be tough to do, though, considering his enormous salary. And then this weird thing that keeps happening with teams being below the cap floor, but they're not really. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, at least based off what I'm seeing, they're not below the cap floor. All right, guess I'll try a second and a third for Jansa at 50% of his salary from St. Louis. Presuming they can actually accept this. Nope. Okay. Same situation. I'm not sure what's going on here. But one moment they can't add that much salary to the payroll. And then the next moment they would be below the cap floor. So it's just, that's making things very complicated. Toronto? Can you guys take Jansa? No. Let's see. What if I try 25%? No, because they would be below the cap. Like, that doesn't make sense. I don't understand what's going on here, guys. Like, I'm not sure if I'm missing something or... Okay, why is every team's cap hit like the same? I'm scrolling through the teams here and I'm just noticing that almost every single team has this same exact cap hit. Like, is that the salary cap or the cap hit? Because the salary cap is 89.65. And yet, I'm seeing cap hit of 89.65 for a lot of these teams. I mean, the payrolls are all different. The salary cap spaces seem to be different, at least according to this. This is so confusing. I've never felt this confused before making trades. I give up. Let's just offer him out on a trade and see who bites. Okay, what if I negotiate with Washington from this trade screen? Can I get 2 seconds back? All right, what about Richard Franklin? He has a half-star ability, half-star potential, and he's on the trade block. Very likely they'll accept. Okay. This guy has almost the same exact salary as the guy who they offered me. I don't understand what's going on. I'll trade Jansen later. I'm not sure what's going on right now here during the draft, but I guess I'll just trade him at the start of the season, like after the season starts or something, when the teams are all a bit more stable cap-wise, because this is very confusing. So that whole circus took about 40 minutes. It took a lot longer than I expected. And in all that chaos, I was about to close off the episode, but I forgot that we were supposed to make a free agent signing. So the free agent I'm going after here is the 26-year-old Kelly Carrier. Take a look at his ratings. Great defensively, great two-way game. Unfortunately, his mental ratings aren't where I would like them to be, but they're serviceable. Physical ratings, once again, not where I would like them to be, but his offensive ratings and defensive ratings, I'm hoping are going to make up for that, especially his positioning being at 20. His career stats, he hasn't really had any bad seasons, at least not as grade-wise, and as far as points go, he's good for about 40 every year, so a good guy to really help out the young guys who are coming in. And he's only 26, so he'll still be good by the time we're hopefully good, so I see no reason why we shouldn't sign Kelly Carrier here, especially with the amount of forwards we have traded away. So he wants 4 years, 6.6. I mean, I guess we'll be able to do that, especially given seeing as how we have a salary currently of 62.6. Yeah, we should be able to do that. I mean, someone needs to take up some of the salary cap here on this team. So May as well be him. I'll give him 6.7 for 4 years. All right, so that is Kelly Carrier offered. Hopefully he accepts. And I guess in the next one we'll do the draft and hopefully be able to trade Jansa.